afternoon and welcome. I'm Marty Hoofer, Digital Content Manager for Keep Indiana Learning, and I am so excited to have two fantastic guests today. These are guys who think, I started to say outside the box. They don't even know there is a box. They think so far outside of it. And they, from the STARTedUP Foundation, Don and Kevin, and they have such an exciting opportunity for Hoosier teachers. And so I'm not going to take up any more airtime because I want you to be able to share this amazing opportunity for Hoosier educators. So Don and Kevin, take it away.
Oh, very good. Wow. Thanks for teeing us up. Well, hey, everybody. I'm Kevin. I'm actually a former Keep Indiana Learning digital learning coach. So I was around in the early days, which was not that long ago, but it's a great organization and glad to be able to use this platform. But I'm now with the STARTedUP Foundation. I'm the director of programming, and we're here today to talk about a really unique and exciting opportunity for Indiana teachers. But before we do that, Don, if you wouldn't mind, love to have you talk a little bit about your background and kind of the origin story of STARTedUP Foundation, and
Sure.
maybe lead us into why we're here today.
Sure. My name is Don Wettrick. I taught for 20 several years. I think it's my new favorite term because I forget whether it was 23 or 20 several years, we'll just say. And then helped foster a thing that our class was called Innovation and Open Source Learning. Had a lot of really interesting things come out of that. But then met some key people in the state, and they were like, hey, let's grow and expand this. And so we help run Innovate Within, which is the state's innovation entrepreneurship program and competition. But then out of that, we also created STARTedUP Foundation, which is really teacher-centric and to build this ecosystem of innovation throughout the state. We work with teachers like you all.
Yeah, that was what was interesting is, I was working informally with STARTedUP Foundation for a number of years when I was a teacher, and I would have some students engage in the programming, and I was fortunate enough to have an innovation class, and I knew just how important the role of the teacher was in this process. So even though, Innovate Within is a very student-centric program, it was really the teachers are that conduit. So we learned early on that however we can connect these teachers to resources, to each other, to their community, it increases the outcomes for the students. So that's really the origin of this teacher fellowship. We're wrapping up. I say wrapping up. We're really getting towards the end of our second full year of the formal educator fellowship. It's grown every year, and what's unique about it, Don, is that we have teachers from lots of different content areas. A lot of people think it has to just be engineering, it has to just be business, or it has to just be science. And the reality is, we want students to learn how to view problems as opportunities. So that really is the mission and vision of why we do what we do. It's how we look to try to find teachers that are looking for these same outcomes of their students, and help amplify their impact, or otherwise help them find resources. So that's really the origin of the fellowship itself. Now, organizationally, Don, I know that you and the team, you've worked so hard on our core values. These are the day-to-day things that we try to implement, whether we're making decisions on who to partner with or what programs to put out there. At the end of it, these are what we're checking our progress against. So rather than reading all these, I think there's three that are really the most appropriate when we talk about the teacher fellowship. The first one is that opportunities are everywhere. Yes, we want our students to think like that, but we also really want our educators to think like that. To not feel like they're boxed in and this rigid structure where they have to do things a certain way. So in some cases, these teachers are willing to bend the rules, or ask for permission, or ask for forgiveness rather than permission, on the things that they're having their students do, bringing in outside guests, connecting students with opportunities, diverging from the curriculum a little bit to give their students a little bit different flavor of the content. So, in practice, this means a lot of our fellows, they're seeking out other opportunities, whether it's joining civic foundations and boards, or whether they're pursuing their admin license, or writing and publishing their own curriculum, or getting into real estate as a side hustle. So these teachers realize that opportunities are everywhere. They're walking and talking this, so their students can see that, this teacher is on the same journey as I am. So that core value really applies. And then really, entrepreneurs don't wait for perfection, they move now. We want to build this culture where teachers and students are willing to try it quick, fail fast, pivot, make adjustments, and keep making progress. And then the third one, which really is at the heart of why we're doing this, is it's not what you, if it's not what you know, but who you know, then get out there and get to know people. These are all things that we help teachers with: connect themselves and their students with opportunities, help them be risk takers, support them in their thinking, connect them with their peers, and then help them grow their network. So, Don, are there some kind of other core values, or even parts of these core values that I've identified that you think are super important?
Right below in there too is, in a world of social media addiction, negativity, we're trying to do the exact opposite. We're trying to show our students that they're producers rather than consumers. We don't want our students to scroll away. But what does that mean for our teachers? As you were saying, it's building that network. It's shining a light. One of the things that we enjoy doing is creating content on what our teachers are doing, because we really want to bring about organic change in education. So part of this fellowship is we want to see what you do. We want to celebrate it. We want to make sure your local news media outlets know about it, your local chambers of commerce, your mayors, etc. This kind of momentum and this kind of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're doing that in my town, is exactly what we're going for.
Yeah. So a lot of times people will ask, well, what types of teachers do you look for? It's not a content area. It's not a number of years in the profession. It's not even the size of a school district or a geographic location. We're trying to find teachers who are relentless in the pursuit of creating opportunities for their students. They know they want to do more for their students, but might need some additional support. And also those that are looking to develop some maybe non-traditional leadership capacity. All of those opportunities exist. So this Innovation Educator Fellowship, this is for any high school teacher. That's the caveat, is the grade band. We don't have anything against middle school. I know Don taught middle school for years, and I taught upper elementary and middle school. And we love our middle school friends. But what we found is that's kind of our sweet spot. When we start thinking about workforce development and preparing students to enter the world that awaits them, that high school grade band is really where we focus a lot of our energy. So what is that fellowship? This is kind of a high level overview. Really, we recognize that teachers are the catalysts for student growth and innovation. They can be the motivator, so they can either prod or they can pull. We want to empower teachers to play a leadership role in their community, and we'll talk about what that actually means in practice. We want them to create an ecosystem of innovation and entrepreneurship in and out of the classroom. So they're creating this whole world, this sphere for their students that goes beyond the walls of the school. And we'll talk about how they are doing that. It's becoming that network of innovative teachers, so that sounding board that you can learn from and bounce ideas off of. We want to create that support network. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's increasing opportunities for their students, whether it's awareness of a career path, whether it's connections that they're making for internships or for job shadowing, or just motivation. We want to create opportunities where, it's the analogy of mirrors and windows. They want to be able to see themselves in successful people, but they also need to have those windows. They need to see what's available. And one of the best ways to do that is to get out in the world or bring the world into the classroom. And those are really critical parts of the Innovation Fellowship. And then really the travel opportunities. In the past, we've been fortunate enough, in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen here, this is our most recent trip to Parma, Italy. We were invited to the Italian Motor Valley to learn from some of the most innovative companies in the world. A lot of them built around the racing industry and luxury car, high-performance car industry. But at its heart, it's the people. It's not necessarily the processes. It's the innovation that's in the heart of the people. So every year we just get different opportunities to go different places. And I know this summer we're going to be taking a number of our educator fellows to DC in order to connect them with innovative thought leaders in DC. So definitely the travel opportunities. Jump
one
in.
of the reasons, and a lot of times we get questions like, why in the heck, what brought you guys out to Italy? The talent pipeline is, everybody wants innovators. And I will say that some of the Italian Motor Valley companies, as a sponsor, they wanted to see more teachers come out. And actually, that was one of the requests. They liked some of the students. They loved working with our Indiana teachers. And I think this is a nod to where industry is heading. They want problem solvers. They want those student talent pipeline. They want those innovators coming up. And so we've been excited that we have been given a lot of unique opportunities to grow and expand. And these great companies want access to our teachers, which is the ultimate compliment.
Yeah. And a lot of people say, show me the data, right? But one of the data points that's driving us is what you see in the top left-hand corner, just teacher retention. We want to have a positive impact on teacher retention. And one of the ways we feel we can do that is to help them feel empowered, equipped, part of a community, supported, to help them continue to do the work. Because if the teachers are not in the classroom guiding the students or creating opportunities, we're ultimately not hitting our objective, which is to have students, create opportunities out of problems, right? So that's one of the things that's driving us, and it's that sense of urgency to help do that. So we've been fortunate that teachers that are involved in our programming, we've had some very positive results, not only on teacher retention, but also their perspectives and perceptions of the role that they're playing. Do they feel like they're having an impact? Are my students actually having shifts in mindsets? We do a lot of data collection pre-post, and it's validating the work that we're doing. So the proof is there. Let's see. So when we talk about the fellowship, there really are, we really have 6 pillars. So innovation and entrepreneurship training, classroom content and curriculum, ongoing support, educator workshops, community connection, peer support group. No one of these is any more important than the other. But in order for us to be as effective as we can and see the outcomes that we want for the teachers and ultimately the students, all 6 of these need to be handled with a level of fidelity and commitment. So let's just take a little time and jump into each of these. First one I'm going to talk about is innovation and entrepreneurship training. So members of our fellowship, we gather in person in early September. We gather in Indianapolis. We have a full day workshop where, yes, part of it is community building, but also it's to coach teachers that are maybe coming from a variety of levels of experience, familiarity, and a variety of content areas. Help them, coach them through design thinking, problem solution mapping, identifying opportunities, and the process of actually taking an idea and pushing that initiative forward. We do a pretty comprehensive curriculum overview, which we'll talk about the curriculum in just a few minutes. But again, it's that sense of community building. When we do our kind of end of program year surveys and we ask about what was the most beneficial part of the fellowship experience, typically ranking up pretty high is that sense of community. Don, you've been doing this not only kind of informally through the teacher cohort program that was tied to Innovate Within, but more formally through the fellowship. What are some things that you're seeing that is evidence that the community that's being built amongst these innovative teachers is impactful?
Yeah, I'd say that's probably the number one piece of feedback that we're getting. We used to try to jam pack a lot of these calls with A-list people. And a lot of the times the teacher's like, what I really want to do is talk to Chrissy LaFleche or Dan Schultz or pick their brain. And what it's really evolved into is this, I hate to use the word family when people overuse that, but it is this tight-knit group that they really do help one another. We've had some teachers self-organize and build up other programs in other schools that are adjacent. I know one of the persons pictured right there, and Chrissy and Dan ended up doing some things out in their community. over and above this cohort. So I'd say that that sense of camaraderie, and then honestly, what we're trying to do in education is different. And then leaning on some teachers that this is their third or fourth year, really leaning into this, and how they network and how they work with leaders and how they bring leaders into their classroom. It's been that, can I pick your brain? Can we have some side conversations? Yes, there's monthly meetups, but that bonding agent of just having a sense of familiarity that what you're going through, you've been through it. And then my favorite thing is nobody knows more people than teachers. And when we can take a network of one teacher and it opened up to another 100 teachers, there's no one that we can't get to. There's no piece of insight that we can't ask for more information on with our networks.
And it made me think when you were talking there, we truly do want to meet educators where they are. And a lot of times what that, I'm thinking of a particular member of the fellowship that he's been in education for a number of years, but he did not teach a traditional business class. He taught a biomedical science class.
Right.
So on the problem solution, ideation, prototyping processes, super competent, right? But then it's, how do I support my students kind of expanding this into a more market ready solution and getting into the specifics of business financials and a minimum viable product and market validation and pitching my venture. And that was kind of an apprehension, but it was quickly addressed once he was introduced to this community of other innovators.
Absolutely.
And it literally within 2 hours of one of these kickoff workshops, he was empowered. He had a plan, and his students have had some unbelievable outcomes as a result of it. So we meet you where we are. We give you whatever training and support you need in innovation and entrepreneurship. The classroom content and curriculum, this is a good segue because I'm sure the vast majority of you that may be watching this, you have a either district adopted curriculum, whether it's for science or language arts or for engineering or for entrepreneurship. We're not here to replace any curriculum. What we do want to do is we want to work with you to integrate some of the core components of our curriculum into the work that you're already doing. And one of the ways that we do that, so we have it's a comprehensive, it's an 18-week curriculum that walks you as the educator and students through the process of identifying what your passions are, first of all. Because if you don't know thyself, it's hard to match your skills and passions with a problem that needs solved. But we walk through a framework for seeing problems as opportunities, how to identify and implement the stages of innovation and problem solving, how to build and act on and establishing a meaningful community. So it's a very comprehensive 18-week curriculum. When you are in the fellowship, you will be working with, we'll have 20 community innovation coaches, and we really think of them as peer mentors, peer leaders. They've been working in this realm for a number of years. They're there to support folks that are maybe newer to this format or this type of work being done in the classroom. But what you'll do is you will develop a personalized implementation plan for the innovation and entrepreneurship curriculum, minimum of 6 weeks. So you figure out how does this coincide with the other work that I'm doing in my classroom. And in some cases, some of our fellows use this as the core curriculum that's guiding their day in and day out activities in their classroom. But you will get to determine how and when and how much of the curriculum that you're going to use in your classroom. But one of the reasons that we're so excited about this is that through the videos, the activities, the discussions, the case studies, the opportunities to invite your community members into your classroom to create a challenge for your teachers or your students to solve. We've seen this. Don and I have both done this day after day, time in, time out. We've done this with our students, and we know the transformative impact that it can have. So that's why we're so passionate to have our fellows utilize this curriculum to help them get the outcomes that they're looking for. Don, is there anything that you kind of wanted to circle back on in terms of the curriculum or some of the content that's in it?
No, I think you said it perfectly. I think that the number one thing is that this is something that this is just enhancing. We are not here to replace your curriculum. We are here to enhance it, build up this network, have other people, be able to count on them to give some advice and things along the way. But the theme here is no matter what you teach, have your students see problems as opportunities and add this as a layer to your class.
Yeah. Ongoing support. A lot of times people have a strong kickoff and then there's no follow-up. One of the ways that we provide that follow-up is we really do have kind of a open door office hour style support system for fellows that maybe you don't have those connections yet in your community, or you haven't really formed that strong connection with your regional fellows or your community innovation coach yet. We're always here. Don and I have both, like we said, we've implemented these activities, and we can connect you with either industry professionals or add to your network, or connect you with other educators that are maybe just a little further along in their journey as you are. So we want to be able to provide that ongoing support so that you don't lose the momentum, don't lose the excitement, because it is very cyclical. Don, I know in some of the videos you talk a lot about what happens when that excitement of, even just if we're using entrepreneurship, I've got an idea and I'm riding on adrenaline, and then it gets difficult, and then you drop into the pit of despair, right?
Yeah.
That's why interwoven into this is helping students identify problems that they're passionate about solving, helping teachers identify problems that they're passionate about solving, because that passion is the jet fuel that's going to get you through and get you out of the pit. So we want to be sure that we can connect you to as many resources and support you in any way as we can. Next thing I want to talk about, which is one of the pillars, is the educator workshops. I mentioned we have the kickoff workshop in September, but we also have monthly workshops. These are virtual. It's one evening per month. They'll be about an hour and a half to 2 hours. The first hour of it is really going to be focused on pulling out some of the key resources within the curriculum, helping you help students begin to think, work, and connect like entrepreneurs and implement that mindset. So that's going to be a big part of the work. So we're going to be doing a lot of the activities and having some discussions and reflecting on what went well last month. Where are you still struggling? And the best part about that is that Don and I and the other members of our team, typically we can just take a step back, because there's going to be dozens of other teachers on this call that they will gladly jump in. They're not going to say what they're doing is right, because at their heart, they're humble. But what they're going to say is, this is what I did and this is what worked for me. And that vulnerability and that authenticity is what makes this network so robust and so valuable. So we do have these educator workshops. The second half of each of the monthly meetings is going to be designed for regional breakouts. So there's going to be you and maybe 15 to 20 other fellows that are in your geographic region. What we like to do with that is what's going on up in the northeastern part of the state as far as economic development, politics, emerging industries. It might be different in different parts of the state. So we want to give those of you in different regions the opportunity to literally talk about what's going on in your backyard, what's coming up in the future, what connections you've made with local resources, and sharing the wealth with the other fellows. So Don, what have you seen as far as kind of some of the regional magnetism and how the rising tide lifts all boats? How have you seen that with our educators?
Yeah, I think that a lot of times sometimes there's going to be conferences and speakers coming through. There may be a couple of initiatives led by some local mayors or someone in state politics. Not every single person needs to know about that. It's regional. And so we'll have that time to break out. But even as the macro group, my favorite thing is when we have who knows somebody in this industry, I've got a student that specifically needs to talk to this person. Maybe we've got you covered. I think that's where a lot of the magic is. And then quite frankly, my students really, they were up here and now they're down there. That sense of familiarity with their teachers, don't worry about it. What you need to do is this. Kevin and I are always willing to pop in on a Zoom call. We're pretty excitable. We'd love to be able to come in. from time to time, I can travel and visit some classrooms. But again, those educator workshops are where you go back to get you some of your energy.
Yeah, and I love, we've got a pretty robust network, and we like having some of our more esteemed members jump on to either motivate, encourage, or to give actual, ideally some easy to implement strategies or tools that teachers can add to their toolbox. So community connection, that is, really about how you build community outside of your classroom. Ways that you engage your community is we encourage and support our fellows going out and acting as ambassadors. So they're going to economic development events, they're going to policy events, they're going to pitch competitions, they're going to career fairs, they're going to these emerging technology conferences, because we want our teachers to be able to bring back insights to the classroom so that we can truly say we're preparing students for the world that awaits them. So part of it is
and then conversely there, Kevin, you also see that picture there. Some of our teachers are now invited on panels, and then like I'm going to pick on the guy we see there. The mayor is constantly, he's got a hotline between his office and his phone. That is the other thing that we want, that community engagement. We want our teachers to be the hub of this innovation scene, to where your local leaders, your state leaders, all these other things, activities, we celebritize you. We want to put you on the stage. We want you to be on those panels. Because, man, we're trying to show off what we're doing here in Indiana for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, part of it's you going out, acting as an ambassador, but the other part is bringing the community in. So many of our fellows, what we say, activate your ecosystem. That's going to be any entrepreneurial support and the economic development, for-profit, nonprofit, anything you can use as a resource to provide your students insights and access. We have them come in and serve as judges on in-school or in-class pitch competitions. We have them serve as professional and personal mentors. We do a lot, they do a lot of site-based field trips. Really that's kind of converting into internship opportunities and just opening students' eyes to career paths that they just hadn't been exposed to yet. So the teacher is that critical role in providing that. One of the last things I want to talk about is we talked about the peer support group. It is just so important, because you're talking to people, whether it's your community innovation coach that is truly there to support you, to help you with your personalized implementation plan, to check in, to see how it's going, to see what supports you need, to ask favors of some of the other fellows, whether it's an introduction, or if we can get somebody on a Zoom call that's maybe an expert in an industry. There's so many ways that this peer group can support each other, and that's really the power of that fellowship. It's nothing. We'll be humble. It's nothing that we're doing. We're just creating the space and the time, and the encouragement, and just magical things truly are happening through our fellowship. So that was a quick 28 minutes, Don. So in this last couple of minutes, what I'd like to do is just hit on a couple of the most important things. Number one, applications are open right now. You can be from any academic discipline. The QR code's here on the screen, startedupfoundation.org/fellowship. There's more information. You can actually get to the application there. Applications for the 24-25 program year close on May the 31st. If you have additional questions after watching this, or maybe, we'd love a referral too. Maybe this isn't, matching up with your 3 to 5 year plan, but the teacher or the principal that would love to implement this in their building. We'd be honored if you would connect us. My contact info is here on the screen. We'd love to be able to have a conversation to see how we might be able to help you create this innovation hub within your school. Don, any closing remarks?
I will close by saying this. When I was calling and talking to a lot of superintendents and principals, I was telling them, I'm not looking for a teacher. I'm looking for the teacher. I'm looking for the teacher that likes project-based learning. I'm looking for the teacher that has no problems with calling their mayor and saying, get down here. You got to see what my kids are working on. I'm looking for the teacher that wants to build a network of energizing people yes, we have a lot of cool incentives. We didn't even go into the incentives we have, but honestly, I don't want to motivate people with incentives and cool things. If you want to belong to something like this, if you want to get and you already is thinking of the students already, like you should meet my student that does. Yes, we want to foster and grow that. And this is the destination, is the first of its kind in the country. And then this isn't a club. This is an absolute fellowship. This is a fellowship of those really Trojan horse. Let's disrupt and do cool things within your school walls and grow this. And if that's you, please apply. We're so dead set on really creating more innovatively entrepreneurial minded students. And as Kevin started off, and we'll finish, entrepreneurs don't wait around for perfect. They go now. So, which is good. The deadline is the end of May. So we'd like to see if you want to apply. We, again, thank you, Ms. Hoofer, for giving us this opportunity to present as well.
I love the work you guys do. I'm also a former middle school teacher. And so my approach was a Genius Hour type project. And man, just watching the kids find something they could be passionate about and connecting them to other people and allowing them to see how much bigger the world is than our four walls, game changer. Yeah. And so this just takes my little Wednesday once a week approach to a whole new level. So it's just such a great opportunity. I guess I do have two questions for you guys. Sure. I said it's only open to Hoosier teachers, but then I realized maybe that's not true. Is it only open to Hoosier teachers?
No, we've actually now got other states that are wanting to do this. And so we're going to have, and actually there's some from other countries. So this is going to be kind of an international flair. But the big majority are from Indiana. Okay. And I do have to follow up with what you said. A lot of times students that have had a background in Genius Hour thrive. And in some cases, we've even had some students that they did a Genius Hour project their 8th grade year, and they've been growing it. So by the time they're a junior in high school, they've made several changes. And one other little patting ourselves on the back with our students. We've had some students that have actually grown and had commercial success. We've had 2 students that have sales in all 50 states. And we have this year, the Forbes 30 under 30, 28 are not from Indiana, but 2 of them are, and they were recent grads and they went through this, and they'll even tell you this started with Innovate Within. We wanted to win. We decided to launch something. So we have 2 Forbes 30 under 30 students from Evansville. So we're quite proud of that. And it will, I promise you, that's going to be more common.
Yeah. And like I said, having just done Genius Hour on a tiny scale, this is game changing for students. And that's what we want to do for our students, is open their eyes to this world of possibilities. It's what every teacher claims to want to do. Well, here's the opportunity to do that. So Kevin and Don, thank you so much for sharing. I'm excited to hear. So next year when we do this, and there's 2 Forbes 30 under 30s from Indiana, maybe there'll be more next year. So that's so exciting. So check out their website. Thank you, Kevin, there for pulling it up. And we look forward to seeing where this grows next.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you go to STARTedUPFoundation.org and go under students, under 2024 pitch competitions, you can meet a lot of these students. And for our purposes here, a lot of the teachers that are in our fellowship. We have 6 regional events that are going to be happening on the latter part of this month in literally all corners of the state. So we'd love to see you come to that event, make yourself known, let us know your comment, and we'll connect you to some of these amazing educators so you can witness their work firsthand.
That's amazing. Thank you, guys. And to our viewers, thank you so much and have a great afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.